Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Days Gone By 200 and the chase for the Belly Up Cup brought to us by Harpoon Designs. We are currently 21 laps into the Days
Hello.
Gone By 200. Dom Santina alongside David Westergreen and Emily Harlan, your usual suspects here for the Belly Up Sports Erska Series broadcast. Guys, joining a little late due to some technical difficulties, but 23 laps in and well into the way, or well on our way to the first race of the chase for the cup.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Darlington's always a slip-slidey track with some contact in the walls. You'll see some Darlington stripes, guys getting into each other. We have only had one minor incident that didn't actually bring out a yellow, but it did separate the field quite greatly. We'll do a quick rundown of the top, 10 or so to get you caught up to speed. We'll try to call out those chase drivers as we come across them. They'll mostly be using a red spoiler and a red banner on the top of their car. Ryan Lutz is one of them, though his car not reflecting that on our trading paints. But Cameron Rich showing off that red banner, running second right now. The Daytona and Bristol race winner, and that's how he got into the chase. Those right now are his only two top 10 finishes all season.
He's off to a solid start here early, running in the second position. Good 25 laps or so into this one.
Yep, Nick Massey running third, another one of our chase drivers, and a guy we expect to be pretty strong here as well. Running fourth, another chase driver, Matthew Weeks. In this 11 car, he's been strong all season, though he hasn't pulled off a race win, and he loves this place. Really wanted to come out and run really well and make it 5 consecutive playoff drivers as Tate Lytle currently runs in 5th.
Make it 6. Currently in the 6th spot, Chris Wright in the 69 car. Another playoff driver.
Yep, and James Heater, another playoff driver right there in 8th. Right in front of him is Hank Steinmiller in that 63 car, new entry for Apex Racing there, and he'll be hopefully piling it out through the rest of the season. Hank loves Darlington. He's very good here. Thomas Sherman running 9th, and Dylan Thomas running 10th. Dylan, I believe, got knocked out of the playoffs last week due to one of the race winners, I think Josh Adams, falling out of the points at Talladega. Daytona. Dylan was unable to capitalize. I guess that was 3 weeks ago. And Dylan ended up being out of the playoffs. Matthew Bayuk right behind him in 11th. He is one of the playoff drivers.
And behind him, as we continue to go through the order, is Damian Leininger in the 12th spot. And then right behind him, we find another playoff driver, the 37 of Ethan Burrell in 13th.
Yep, Ethan certainly further back than Ryan Lutz, who's been kind of his counterpart earlier this season. And then in 14th, right behind them, is Josh Adams, who is one of our playoff drivers in that Darrell Waltrip style paint scheme, kind of doing a Darlington throwback, even though it's not really a throwback race, all things considered. Nick Indelicato also pulling out his throwback scheme from earlier this season at North Wilkesboro. And running 15th. Here's another playoff driver, Jared Mogard in 16th, battling with Scott Crump. Darlington's such a tough track. These guys are going to be slip sliding around all day long. That kind of pass right there, that's what we're going to see. These guys continually throwing slide jobs and making some other passes. James Heater now off the track, and I couldn't catch what was wrong with his car, so the 16 may have had an issue. As I look back through the field, I think we've gotten all our playoff drivers. I think the lowest running one there is Mogard up in 16th. There was a big incident earlier in the race where you might see some of these guys with damage. I believe Colin Fambro and Josh Adams got together, slid sideways, and it stacked the field up. A couple of guys got damaged. Scott Crump got sideways, lost a couple of spots. It gave some spots to a guy like Damian Leininger, who's all the way up into 10th place now. He and Ethan Burrell have marched past Dylan Thomas, and they're working their way up onto the back bumper of Nick Matthew Bayuk, rather, his teammate. Oh, Bayuk in the wall. And that'll do it. Darlington stripe for Bayuk.
Some guys trying to push their way through.
Steinmiller might have hit the wall as well. That 63 car has a little bit of damage. And the 12 and the 37. Well, there goes the 12 into the wall hard. He's going to save it. Damian Leininger reported earlier in this race that his computer was not loading the proper version of Darlington. So that whatever that 12 car, I mean, he's still running 10th. He still seems to be fast enough, but he has a different surface than everybody else. He's kind of encountering some different challenges. Ethan Burrell passed him and into 9th, so a good march forward for the 37 car. And a battle back here for 11th as playoff driver Matthew Bayuk, after bouncing it off the wall, starts to go backwards. Ooh, Thomas sideways! And he'll save it. Good piece of driving by dirt racing aficionado Dylan Thomas.
Really gained some confidence after that dirt race. Have had some strong finishes since that race happened.
Just barely wasn't enough to get him into the playoffs.
Going to lose a spot here to Indelicato.
Very, very risky pass by Indelicato. Slid up right in front of the bumper of that 03 car. Trying to go on board with him here. We look at the beautiful Darlington Raceway, the very abrasive surface. These tires are screaming, as you can kind of hear in the background a little bit. We'll take a lap with Dylan Thomas here, watching Nick Indelicato kind of drive away from him. In fact, let's go on board with Indelicato as he pulls up on the back bumper of his teammate. Getting in the gas a lot earlier in turn number 1, and oh man, Bayuk in the wall. Looks like everything's all right. Bayuk just picks up yet another Darlington stripe on the side of that 29 car.
Yeah, definitely struggling his way around here, but trying to have a good, solid finish to start the first round of the chase.
Trying to look for some battles in the pack. And Josh Clark has jumped it onto pit road. He becomes maybe the first car to come down and get fresh tires. Tires will be very key. We are at 35 of 133, so Clark probably assuming that things go green for a few laps here, and he's able to, make things, some gains with those fresh tires once he gets back out onto the racetrack. Ryan Lutz, your race leader.
Especially some of these guys that are not in the chase can afford to make those gambles and see if they can get some track position, or maybe we see later in the race they stay out and try to play that track position game to pick up a win.
Yep, the one driver who is doing that, you might recognize the 24 from earlier in the season. Unfortunately, that's not Dalton Tucker. Vincent Isabella has jumped into that 24 car. Vincent ran this series last year. Had kind of assumed that he wouldn't have the availability to run it this year, so he didn't sign up originally. Finally got his work schedule, and lo and behold, he's got time. So he's been one of those to jump on those early tires. Looks like he's also been in the wall. 24 car, though, sporting a new coat of paint, looking good, and he's the first car behind Josh Clark on that fresh tires strategy.
Gap almost 3 seconds for your race leader, Ryan Lutz, over Nick Massey, and then it's another 2 to 3 seconds back to Matthew Weeks in the 3rd spot.
Yep, very spaced out is the field right now, and the guy who's kind of dropping is Hank Steinmiller. Has not been able to take care of those tires. Nick Indelicato has taken care of his tires, and he shoots on by. He's passed both Leininger and Steinmiller, the Apex Sim Racing teammates, falling back to Indelicato and his Shift Esports group. More drivers have come down pit road, including one of our playoff drivers. That is Josh Adams. And that's not the view. There it is. Adams on pit road. First playoff driver to come down and try to get tires and kind of setting things up. Also on pit road now is Jared Mogard. So playoff drivers trying to jump the gun and get fresh tires on their cars. I imagine Ryan Lutz will be staying out as long as possible just in case a caution comes out.
Yeah, probably the top 5 to 10 will probably be playing that game. Just seeing, especially since they've had quite a few come in here, kind of short pit a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely a short pitting strategy, but at a track like Darlington, the fresher tires later in the run, that will come back to these cars who stay out longer, and I think the gaps will open up more. We've seen the short pit run work, and it'll get you some track position. It can really help you pick up time, but for the most part, the guys who stay out longer are going to end up with the better track position at the end of the race. And that's definitely what the race leader is going to sit on and try to do. And he's opening it up right now on Nick Massey. Massey is kind of falling back almost into the clutches of Matthew Weeks, though I think the 48 car might just be riding and waiting for his pit stop. Another playoff driver on pit road. It's Cameron Rich. The pole sitter for this race, Rich. And every point matters. This is a traditional chase playoff format. It's not one of those win and you're in elimination scenario playoffs. It's a classic. Most points over the rest of the season wins the championship. So Rich getting that pole, leading those early laps, that does help his efforts to win the championship.
Pretty calm one right now. Everything just kind of everyone just kind of clicking off laps. If we're on lap 43 of 133 here at Darlington.
Yeah, I want to mention that we did miss one playoff driver, not in the race. However, Gerald Campbell missing this week. His, I believe his son was born today, so congrats to Gerald Campbell, and missing the race for a very good reason. It's definitely more worth it to be there with your newborn kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trying to find a battle where some guys are a little bit close together here. Chris Wright, Thomas Sherman, Ethan Burrell, all kind of within the same camera shot.
I was going to say, I didn't really get a ton of time to go watch it, but I know Emily spent some time on the Belly Up Sports page interviewing all these playoff drivers. Since things are kind of calm, I don't know if we want to send it down to Emily. We didn't have a pre-race show, so she wants to kind of tell us some of the things we found out with some of those playoff drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great show. I hope everyone gets the opportunity to check it out if they haven't already. It's still up on Twitter. You can look into it. But it was really fun just to kind of sit down with a few of the guys and have it be in kind of a more relaxed environment. But, the guys were just talking about how they're excited for the chase. They were saying that the top kind of guys that got mentioned of who would be maybe the ones to look out for were Nick Massey, definitely a couple of the guys threw his name in there, and Ryan Lutz as well. So it was a lot of fun. Just speaking of Darlington, I think it was Chris that said it's great to run, but you can get wrecked really easily. Anything can happen. So I think these guys are super excited for the chase, just like all of us. But it was a great show, and it's still up definitely if anyone wants to go take a look at it.
Thank you, Emily. Want to get some time? I'll definitely go check that out. Meant to, just been busy and forgot to. But yes, Ryan Lutz, Nick Massey, two of the guys. Massey, your defending champion, has had kind of a quiet season, but going to be looking to try to run down your race leader here, Ryan Lutz.
Yeah, Ryan Lutz
win this championship.
Ryan Lutz has been the kind of he came on so strong right at the beginning of the season, was really leading a lot of laps, dominating some races, and fell into a bit of a lull right as we kind of got up to the chase and the playoff format, and then with the last couple of weeks there ends up losing the regular season championship to Ethan Burrell by 1 point, and so that kind of misfortune for Lutz, I think it's probably motivating him a little bit, especially when you come to a track like Darlington. I mean, this is Lutz's bread and butter, tire-saving track where he can get out front and just pull away, lead laps, run his strategy. This is the kind of track that we didn't get to make pre-race picks, but my pre-race pick was Ryan Lutz. There's a giveaway for the race winner. If you guess under the Erska tweet, you get the pick, or you get a hat, and I picked Ryan Lutz because, I mean, this track fits him so well. It reminds me, Iowa almost reminds you of a short track Darlington, and he dominated that race, and he's been very good at a bunch of these other tracks that just require such poise and precision. Ryan Lutz's very, very good at that. Very, very fast in the center of the corners at these tracks with such old surfaces.
Well, there's also a $40 prize awarded to the race winner tonight, so Lutz wants to pick up that extra cash.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I believe, yeah, Matthew Weeks on pit road, one of our playoff drivers there, and probably the highest running car that's come down pit road so far. Weeks has, Rich has, Josh Adams. So some of those guys, they're starting to make their way up. Weeks is going to get passed by both Rich and Clark. And probably Adams here. Yep, here comes Adams right now. So Weeks, you see how much time he lost just by staying out that little bit longer. Ooh, Steinmiller sideways. He's going to save it right in front of Weeks. But Weeks with those fresh tires, looking at him eat up Hank Steinmiller in the center of the corner, able to get back to the gas just so much sooner. And that's the kind of thing that these drivers like Ryan Lutz are going to be looking out for here. They're going to be hoping for a caution, and that's what a whole lot of the rest of this field that hasn't come in yet is hoping for. Thomas Sherman, one of the top 10 on pit road now. Sherman, that 17 car, has been strong today. He's been in the top 10 all day long, came from 6th place.
Sherman sitting in the 14th spot now as he sits on pit. He'll lose a few spots, but 13 cars currently on the lead lap. That'll change as we come down pit road and when everybody decides to come.
This car is missing a nose. And I'm not sure when that would have happened. Damian Leininger's car no longer sporting a nose on that machine, and I think the track just doing Damian in a little bit. He seems fast, but the tire wear definitely not as consistent as it is for some of these other drivers due to him having a differently loaded track. iRacing really hurting Damian badly here, I think, tonight.
That 12 car looks mighty loose, too.
Yep, this is a battle for position, by the way, between playoff drivers. Ethan Burrell squirting around Chris Wright. Move that 37 car up into 4th. He might be one of the best available challengers for Ryan Lutz, should he get a chance to get caught back up via caution. As we saw at Charlotte, Ryan Lutz can just force guys to wear out their tires any time that they run close to him, as Leininger puts it in the wall to keep away from the regular season champion. That's going to hold Chris Wright up. Definitely not something Wright will be thrilled about. He'll make do as he swings on by, and here comes Matthew Weeks as well with fresh tires.
Weeks a lap down, though, so that will not be for position.
Yep, Weeks and Adams both fresh rubber. Josh Adams is one of the best in the business at saving tires on when he's got those new tires, he can make them last longer than I think most other drivers. You know, Weeks got by him, but Adams is keeping pace with Weeks and running very similar lap times. I think that Adams is really can kind of keep that advantage a lot longer than maybe some of these other guys. I mean, we're seeing Jared Mogart fall really far off. He hasn't even unlapped himself yet, and these guys haven't unlapped themselves yet either. They're gonna have to really work to get up and around Ryan Lutz, who is still well in front of them there. Cameron Rich, the lead car on fresh tires, and he has not yet found a way around Ryan Lutz.
Lutz trying to put Kyle Hanshaw a lap down now as he gets around him, navigating turns 1 and 2.
Hanshaw hasn't pitted yet. He is 12th on the racetrack right now. So Ryan Lutz really putting down a blistering pace. The only one currently able to keep up within 2 seconds of it is Nick Massey in this 48 car, but he's now under attack by Matthew Bayuk, who's 2 laps down and been on pit road, as well as Cameron Rich, who is the first car on fresh tires in 13th.
Massey was able to close in just a little bit because Hanshaw slowed up Lutz as Lutz tried to get around him. But now that Lutz has some clean air and Massey was getting passed by Bayuk there, it's pulled that gap back out almost to 2 seconds again.
Yep, Lutz just taking it easy, and he's about to get run down by Bayuk and Rich. Those would be the first 2 cars on fresh tires to run up and by the race leader. And you can just see how much of a difference the tires are going to make, but also how beneficial it is to stay out and not have to pit. I mean, Cameron Rich was 2nd before pitting, and he might have been back to 4th before pitting, but you know, he's still a whole entire lap down. And once Ryan Lutz does pit and come back out, he'll be blowing away Cameron Rich in terms of lap times.
Yeah, absolutely. Rich about to close in and get his lap back here. Maybe in this corner down this straightaway,
Yep.
for sure.
Yep. Lutz going to have to let him go here. No point in fighting that battle because they're on completely different race strategies. Lutz wanting to keep that 36 car as clean as possible. Just needs to keep it off the wall and hope everyone else does the same. And then Ryan Lutz would be feeling pretty good. But Nick Massey is starting to close in. Only a second and a half. He's cut a whole half a second out of that lead since we last thought about it. And maybe the old tires working a little bit better for Nick Massey. But Emily did kind of say it. Those two were predicted to be the top two in this playoffs, and they're already 1-2 in this race.
Yeah, and there's no reason not to expect that's how it's going to go for the playoffs as well. Of course, we already talked about Massey, the defending champion. Lutz dominant throughout the season. So two guys that know how to win, know how to put their cars up front. And they're showing up here in the first round.
You know, just a quick little maybe thought experiment here, since we have 4 guys up here that I think might be the 4 guys that would be the favorite. If you were picking a Final Four like we have those elimination formats in the other series and in real NASCAR, wouldn't your picks be Ryan Lutz, Nick Massey, Tate Lytle, and Ethan Burrell based on this season?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, obviously, so far, Lutz and Burrell have been the two most consistent or dominant. Massey would probably be my number 3, and Lytle would be my 4th option for sure.
Right, and then it's funny because if you had a 5th guy to think about, I mean, Chris Wright's probably that 5th guy. You know, you've Cameron Rich has won a couple of races, and Matthew Weeks has been very, very consistent. And I think that this playoff format will help a guy like Matthew Weeks a lot more than a guy like Cameron Rich. But nobody. I think if you're top 4 in this race right now, they have all come with the playoffs on their minds. They are performing at top notch right now, and they're this is kind of what I've expected. These guys are coming out to race, and right now, the top car on fresh tires is Cameron Rich. He's right here in the 47 car, running 10th on the racetrack. He just bypassed Jordan Owens, who is now 11th. He's out on old tires. Right behind him is Matthew Weeks in 12th. So Weeks is about to catch and pass Cameron Rich for that top car on those fresher tires. After that, everyone else is still a lap down.
I would expect Lutz to probably come in about 5 laps or so and just split this race right in half.
Yep, I think that's exactly what he's going for. And considering his lap times, right, Ryan Lutz just ran a 32.7. And then the only car on old tires that's faster than Lutz right now is Brandon Scott, actually, who ran a 32.2. And then back down, Cameron Rich ran a 32.3. Weeks ran a 31.5. So Weeks definitely the fastest car out there right now with those older new tires. And then the newer new tires are running 30-second laps. And that's Nick and Delicato in this 01 car. He is really laying down some heaters. Check and make sure we don't have people coming down pit road, but it looks like everyone's still staying out. Still 2 seconds between Ryan Lutz and Nick Massey for the race lead. Both of these cars, Brandon Key, 13th right now. He has not been on pit road according to our timing and scoring, but it looks like he has been because he just went flying around Ryan Lutz. So I don't know that that's quite correct. Josh Clark unlapping himself as well. He was one of the first cars to come down pit road. So he has gotten back on the lead lap. That strategy has worked for the 28 car for now.
Lutz looked like he got a little loose there in the corner just a little bit as Zishan looks to go around him.
Yep, Nick Massey really closing in. Lutz in all that lap traffic, and Lutz is just going to pit. Race leader Ryan Lutz heading for pit road. Got to be careful not to slide the tires or speed it onto pit road here. Very easy to do at Darlington. I think Lutz did it perfectly, though.
I think he just pulled the trigger. Knew Massey was going to get him in the next lap or two. Car getting a little too tough to handle. Didn't want to spin it out or wreck it, so he pulls it down pit road.
I think there's a little
Probably
damage.
It'll be all right to get to the end.
There's a little bit of a Darlington stripe on the dominant car so far. But you're right. I don't think it's too much, and that does turn the lead over to Nick Massey. So Want to make sure Ryan Lutz gets into his pit stall okay, and he does indeed. So that's race leader Nick Massey now. And Massey, the driver, I think, to watch out for on this set of pit stops, because giving him a couple of laps fresher tires when he was able to maintain 2 seconds on Ryan Lutz that whole run, I mean, that could be pretty vital. All things considered, Lutz just now coming off pit road, and he's going to have to fight through a lot of traffic.
So, David, obviously we can make it 67 laps. But what is the actual fuel mileage here for this race? What would be probably the max you can go?
Probably 70 to 72. I think these guys that have decided to turn this race into a one-stop race are fully aware of the fuel calculations. They're definitely they're definitely not gonna run out, I think, is the easy way to go think this here. And Ethan Burrell also on pit road. That is going to turn the lead over to Matthew Weeks.
All right, so now we'll have to see how these guys rebound through the field.
Right, how long does it take Ryan Lutz to carve from 12th to the lead? And I think maybe 20 laps. Maybe. Harrison Talon sideways in front of Weeks there on the back straightaway, and he'll let his pseudo teammate go. It's a couple of different stables, but those guys good friends. Ryan Lutz did get off pit road ahead of Nick Massey by quite a bit. Looking back at it, Lutz here on the back straightaway. Massey just now coming off pit road.
So they're about 5 seconds from each other right now.
And Massey is going to have 3 or 4 seconds fresher tires. Or 3 or 4 laps fresher tires than Ryan Lutz. It's 3 laps fresher for the 48 car, but losing all that time, I mean, that might just be the key, the end of it for Nick Massey. Is Tate Lytle, I think, bounced it off the fence right there as well in the 56 car.
Well, it could be, but it also is going to be how these guys navigate through the traffic. Who's going to be able to get around these cars? Lutz could get held up. Massey could get held up. We'll just see what happens.
Yep, and the tires will burn off, right? Ryan Lutz is going to, he's 19 seconds behind Matthew Weeks right now. That will tick down drastically, I think. This 36 car should be in third in a matter of laps. But then it's 10 seconds up from third to the race lead. So with those tires burning off, I mean, Matthew Weeks could be on a really, really good strategy here. He's built up a massive lead by short pitting. And Lutz just cut out about a second out of it that lap. So, to give Lutz 19 laps, he should be up there battling with Matthew Weeks. But, for now, Matthew Weeks looks to be in a really good spot, especially if he can get a caution here that can kind of trap Ryan Lutz deep in the pack. Quick rundown of our new running order as Matthew Weeks has taken the race lead now. Cameron Rich is second. He was one of the first cars down pit road. Another playoff driver, putting his eggs in the short pit basket. This is Josh Robin in the SMRI, number 26, running third. And then Nick Indelicato has run him down in this 01 car. And Indelicato still turning very fast laps, and I think this 01 might be one of the ones that he needed a little bit of track position. He's run the pit strategy in order to get it. This could be a race-winning call for Indelicato. Fifth,
That would be definitely a shock to the championship.
Yep, and Indelicato did miss the playoffs after getting knocked out in that Daytona road course. Unfortunately, a tough break for Indelicato. Thomas Sherman sweeps around Vincent Isabella, who was kind of, as we discussed, one of those first drivers down pit road. Josh Clark also swings by. He was the first driver down pit road. And then here is Josh Adams, and if you notice, if we hang with Josh Adams for just a little bit, there's a blue flash coming up to his back bumper here. But I think Ryan Lutz has only cut a second and a half out of Matthew Weeks' lead. Weeks might have snookered Ryan Lutz a little bit here. The guys that were running in the top 5 are not making up nearly the ground I thought they would. Ethan Burrell is just now about to unlap himself from Matthew Weeks.
Nick Massey inside the top 10 now. He's still 23 seconds back, so he's got a lot of time to make up yet. But he's right behind Lutz now in the 9th position.
Here comes Burrell on Weeks. A couple of teammates to get here, and I don't anticipate it. We'll see anything but the 11 letting the 37 go on by. But now Burrell has to run 30 more seconds around to get back up to Matthew Weeks, and he was running 4th before that caution came out. So Ethan Burrell definitely maybe viewing something new, I think, in terms of the short pit strategy, not particularly benefiting those cars, or not hurting those cars nearly as much as you might think it would.
Watching that interval on the screen between 8th and 9th. Massey's cut into it a little bit. Down to 5 seconds. It was 6 seconds between the two.
Yep, Massey and Lutz are, Massey does have the fresher tires on Ryan Lutz, and Lutz has been battling through traffic. Again, he's only cut 2 seconds out of that Matthew Weeks lead. Now Massey, in just a couple of laps, has cut 2 seconds out of the Weeks lead alone. He's catching up to Ryan Lutz. He's kind of close to him. I wonder if that crash damage where Lutz hit the wall, I wonder if that didn't affect that 36 car maybe a little more than we thought it was going to, because he just does not seem to have that same bite down the straightaways.
And he was just battling, trying to get around Vincent Isabella there, and got around him on the high side. That was not for position, but still I think got slowed up by the 24 car a little bit.
Just 1.7 seconds, I think, back from Massey up, from Lutz back to Massey. So Massey is catching Ryan Lutz, I think, and Lutz really not putting a whole lot of time in to catch up to Matthew Weeks. Weeks is really running some good laps right now, 32.2s on those older tires. Lutz not even able to make up a second that last lap, and Massey was. So Massey's the one, I think, coming with a head of steam right now.
Delicato's coming though too. He's got it under 10 seconds now to Weeks.
The 01 car has really rebounded strong after that Daytona road course fiasco. He had an opportunity to win at Daytona in that final race, and just didn't have it enough in the tank. And there at the end, ended up getting spun out and crashed. He and Josh Adams having that kind of similar fate. Adams ending up in the playoffs, and then Delicato ending up out based on their previous point scenarios.
Here comes Lutz on Adams.
Yep. Lutz buried in this traffic, and that's something else that's going to help Matthew Weeks going forward. The question is does Matthew Weeks have enough gas to make it to the end, or does he need that caution flag? And I think Weeks is going to need that caution in order to do it. Nick Massey, I believe, or Cameron Rich, I think, came down pit road. Yep, Rich is,
there he is,
performing this short pit strategy, the two-stop strategy, as it were. Now Rich will be on the attack for the final run of this race. That is a gaggle of cars right there. Could be our first yellow of the day.
Don't say that, David. Why do you gotta say that?
Oof. Mine in
I mean, I guess we gotta give Emily something to do, right?
Yeah. Always bring her in here and see what she
yeah,
thinks about
all
this.
It's the broadcaster's curse. Just watch. It's going to start piling up now.
Chris Wright trapped behind these other cars. Joe Francis, the Daytona winner, and Richard Lafferty as well, or Nick Lafferty. No, it was Richard Lafferty. He is the last car running on the racetrack right now.
Come on, David. Don't you know cautions breed more cautions?
Oh, they do. We haven't had any yet. That's why we've been green since the drop. By the way, all that, Ryan Lutz has moved up into 5th, though he is still 14 seconds behind Matthew Weeks, so he has cut 3 seconds out of that lead. And Nick Massey is about to enter the traffic that Ryan Lutz just passed through. Update on the other 2 top 5 drivers before that pit stop. Tate Lytle is 9th, and Ethan Burrell is 10th.
So with Cameron Rich coming down, that should mean probably in the next 10 laps or so, we'd probably see Weeks too if he's on that same strategy, right?
I would think so. I think Weeks needs as many laps with those fresh tires as he can get. I think that's maybe Rich's strategy here is to wind up those fresh tires and try to make them get him all the way through the field, to back to a respectable running position. Weeks might be holding out hope for a caution flag here. I think that may be also something you can definitely think about. Josh Adams is on pit road, so the 3 stoppers starting to make their move down pit road and get those fresh tires for the stretch run, whereas some of these guys, Ryan Lutz, Nick Massey, they're going to be out on old tires, and they're going to be out there the rest of the race.
Lytle and Burrell now inside the top 10 in 8th and 9th now.
Chris Wright also has entered the top 10. He was 5th before those pit stops. So the cycling nearly complete, though Matthew Weeks with that 9-second race lead really looking strong right now. That strategy seems to have paid off for that 11 car. He short pitted from the top 5 from 3rd, I believe, and it has vaulted him into a very, very large lead.
Well, Dave, we could almost kind of see this coming, I guess, now looking back on it. When we saw that Lutz wasn't really losing any time staying out there, I guess, on old tires. I guess that's kind of it showed us a little bit what can happen if you stay out even on older tires.
Yeah, there's definitely a plateau, right? So the tires will drop off from 30-second lap times. Like we'll watch Josh Adams here just drive away from Matthew Weeks, and Adams will throw up like a 30-second lap onto the board. We'll check next time by what Adams' lap is. But presuming it's like a 30-second lap, Matthew Weeks is running 32.4s. So Adams would gain 2.5 seconds, with those fresh tires this lap. But eventually, Adams is also going to be running 32.4s, whereas Weeks is not going to drop much further than 32.4 second laps. So, Josh Robbins running 32.7, and he's been out there, just as long or longer than Weeks, right? 4 laps longer than Weeks. So the drop-off is not nearly as great once you get to that 32 and a half second laps. You're just running that. And so the drop-off for Weeks, Ryan Lutz is running 32 second laps as well now. He's not gaining a whole lot of time on Weeks. And if Lutz gets clean air, he can make that time up a lot better. But right now, 11 to 12 seconds, the gap between Weeks and Lutz, just not enough that Lutz is going to be able to keep up with. And then, should Weeks come down pit road, he'll be able to put up some really hot laps and gain a lot of that track position back.
Massey's coming, though, in between, about a second between the two of them now, though.
Yeah, Massey might be the dark horse in all this, right? Ryan Lutz 3rd, Massey 4th, and those guys are the guys that are planning to stay out the rest of the race, right? Matthew Weeks is going to have to make up essentially 9 seconds less than everyone else in this race, but he will have to make up a whole lot of time because he does have to come back down pit road one more time. So don't know that he's going to be able to do that. Lutz and Massey may still have that winning strategy, but Massey might give Lutz a challenge here, especially if Lutz is getting stuck around lapped cars that are running him wide. Colin Fambrough kind of giving Lutz a hard time here, and Fambrough not one of the drivers in the playoffs.
And maybe it goes back to some of that damage. Maybe passing cars not quite as easy for Lutz as it is for Massey. He's lurking. He is coming.
Yeah, they're very close together here on the racetrack, and it's 6 seconds from Massey back to Tate Lytle, who's just now on the back straightaway. But you see these two Pro Edge Toyotas, nose to tail. Battle would be for 3rd, presuming that Weeks has to pit, and Delicato is now on pit road in the 01 car.
Well, it's different when you know he's out in front of you, but when you can actually see him right in front of you, that takes it to a whole nother level, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep, once you have that car to kind of bounce your lap time off of, that allows you to really buckle down and focus on hitting your marks and trying to beat that car in front of you. I always like kind of being the chaser, as it were, and that makes it very, very easy for me to drive harder than if it is when I'm by myself. And that's one thing that Ryan Lutz does really well, is he's able to lead races by himself without that that rabbit that the fox can chase. To throw a metaphor on it. I like chasing something, and Lutz likes running by himself. He likes to turn his hot laps, run his line, do whatever he wants to do. And Ryan Lutz is the fastest car on the track when he's able to do that cleanly. A little bit of a Ross Chastain moment here. Damian Leininger kind of holding Nick Massey up a little bit, just like Ross Chastain did Kyle Busch in yesterday's NASCAR race.
Yeah, we're kind of getting into very similar territory, although there's not brothers battling here, but two heavy title contenders.
Yep, and that did open up a 1.3 second gap from Lutz to Massey now. So Leininger giving his teammate about 3/10 to work with. Nothing, both Ross and what Damian did there, nothing wrong on their part. I mean, they ran their line, they held their line. They just didn't pull over for the guy behind them because their teammate needs as much space as he can get. And so, run the line, force him to pass you.
There's no rule saying that you have to let the position go.
Exactly. I mean, if I'm Damian Leininger, my race is kind of shot. It was shot before it even started because of iRacing. I might as well just go in and do my best to help my team car win. Yep. Matthew Weeks is on pit road, so Weeks has decided he's waited long enough for a caution, and there one is. Oh, did Isabella get out of it before the caution flew? I think he did. Remarkable job by Vincent Isabella to alt-tab before that one was over. I think Vincent missed pit road. Yep, he sure did. Very easy to do here at Darlington, and when he gassed it up on this dirty apron, the car came right around on him. He bounced it off the inside wall and immediately out of the race.
What a job there by Isabella to keep this thing green and not play a factor in it all.
So that will turn the race lead over to Ryan Lutz. And yeah, great job by Vincent Isabella to get out of it and not affect the race on the track. It leaves it up to the drivers now. And Ryan Lutz out in front of Nick Massey. Ethan Burrell now has passed his teammate Tate Lytle and into third. That is not for position. And Delicato is on fresh tires and charging. And so Cameron Rich is ninth. He's the first car on that fresher rubber. Matthew Weeks is in 11th. So that strategy has given Matthew Weeks, I think, a nice rock-solid top 10 run. But he'll have 33 laps to see what he can do to get up through and challenge Ryan Lutz. He has to pass 9 more cars to do it. I think Weeks can probably get up to 5th. I think that's probably his ceiling here. Streams around that wounded 12 car. Weeks is going to get 2 of them in this corner. This is how you're going to have to do it. If you are one of those cars with a chance to win, you have to carve through this lap traffic without losing any time.
Gas pedal to the floorboard here for Matthew Weeks. We have about 34 laps left to go.
He's looking for this car right here. That is Dylan Thomas out in front of him. And between Dylan Thomas and Matthew Weeks is the race leader, Ryan Lutz. So Weeks, if the caution came out now, would get the free pass. So he would be back in the lead lap. That would trap Thomas Sherman, Nick Delicato, and Josh Adams 1 lap down, who are running the same strategy as Matthew Weeks just about at. Thomas is down pit road. So move Matthew Weeks into the top 10. Nick Massey is coming. 1 second.
He knows there's about 30 laps left to go. He's got to be aggressive if he wants to get up there in a challenge for the race win, because otherwise Ryan Lutz will just check out and set sail here tonight. There comes Weeks by Massey, about to unlap himself.
Weeks is going to do this about as quickly as anyone I've seen so far tonight. Weeks is going, maybe 6 laps after he pitted? 5 laps after he pitted, he's able to run down and take the leader and get back in the lead lap. So Matthew Weeks, I think, might have an opportunity to do this, especially as he gets Ryan Lutz a little bit out of the groove there. He's got 15 fresher.
Go.
Oh, caution on the speedway. That'll change things, and Ryan Lutz just sent Jared Mogart into the wreck, I think. Oh, my. Well, that'll change things.
Lafferty. in the 8 car.
Let's go ahead and throw our sponsors on the board while we go back and take a look at this replay. I think Mogard actually just completely lost it trying not to run Lutz over. Yeah, it's going to be Harrison Talon and Colin Fambro and Richard Lafferty. Let's take a look. A little bit of net code. Sends those two into the inside wall. Talon up in front of the leaders. He tows it quickly, and man, I don't know what happened to Mogard there. Very strange reaction for that 00 car, one of our playoff drivers.
Well, that's going to shake everything up.
This now becomes a short track race, or a short run race, basically. Completely different driving style than it's been so far this race.
Well, here's the question. 14 cars on the lead lap.
That car got hit. That was Jared Mogard getting involved in that wreck, and it looked like Mogard didn't even know the caution was out. He didn't slow up at all. We'll go take one more look at this because one of our playoff drivers was involved in a wreck. Was it Ryan Lutz that he gets into here? That is some severe net code. I mean, they are well off from each other there.
Well, is it Lutz or is it Talon? I think that's right where Talon was parked.
Oh, you might be right.
And he tried to leave, and I think the net code might have still been there, and that sent Mogard into the inside.
You might be right, and that would be shocking, I think. Ryan Lutz first off pit road among the drivers. Everyone on the lead lap pits. I think a lot of those cars that are one lap down that have taken tires are going to take the wave around. Yeah, I think you might be right. I think that might have been like a ghost of Harrison Talon's car that he hit. But, I mean, Mogard didn't even slow down. Like, he went flying by Lutz. Lutz taking care of that race, the dominating car. Mogard just went flying by him there and then gets sent to the inside wall. So a big crash. We were trying to avoid it there. Vincent Isabella almost brought it out a little bit earlier, but we do not go caution-free at Darlington.
We'll change things up here, see what these guys do.
Yep, and I'm going to throw on the replay screen, but I would like to thank all of our sponsors for Erska, especially Belly Up Sports, for allowing us to put this on. Batflip Podcast, Ohio Express, Days Gone By, Butt Kicker, and Hanshaw Designs, Tap-In Software, Colonial Metal Products, everybody who's able to make this thing possible. We'd like to thank you, and thank you for bearing with us with our technical difficulties to start this race. We hope it's been a decent performance so far, and I think the finish of this race is about to be pretty crazy. So
yeah, it's been pretty laid back to this point, but we're gonna have about 15 or 25 laps to go back green.
Yeah, it's all going to be about pushing your car to the limit here. How much can you get out of this car? Tate Lytle has actually come back to pit road in the 56, so a mistake on pit road for Tate Lytle, possibly a little bit of damage on the left front of that machine. Yeah, I think damage on both sides. So what I'm going to do is rewind a couple of laps for Tate Lytle and see if I can't find if he got involved in a wreck coming to pit road, because he might have.
Guys, I just checked on Ryan Lutz just to see how he was doing and his impressions so far on the race. He said that last caution that happened, a quote from him, an exact quote, was that he almost pooped his pants. He said that a car pretty much just went over him. He was white knuckling it, almost ripped his steering wheel out just because he thought that one was going to get him, but obviously managed to kind of steer clear of it. So yeah, probably one of the most interesting quotes I've had from the drivers so far this season.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Ryan Lutz he did it. He got through that wreck perfectly, and he's going to be the race leader on this restart, and he's going to pull away from the pack. Got a big jump. And Ethan Burrell is going to take second from Nick Massey.
Massey, not a good restart, right? Going to look, try to get by him. Now Massey going to gain some momentum, try to get back around Ethan Burrell.
Yep, and quickly into the top 5 now is Scott Crump. Where did he come from? Don't know. 51 Mellow Yellow car has shot up into the top 5. So Scott Crump now suddenly performing at a really high rate since even though he's been 15th all day.
One guy that actually kind of got lucky, even though having to stop twice, was Tate Lytle. He's still in the top 10, so.
Yep.
Perk of having quite a few cars on a lap down there, he was able to come down, get that second stop, and still have a chance at a decent finish today.
Yeah, we didn't talk about him, but Brandon Scott and Johnny Thomas got the wish there from running that strategy of the staying out. They have arrived into the top 10 and now have that track position that they kind of have desperately needed. Both of them searching for a strong top 10 run. Right behind Matthew Weeks right now. Weeks up to 7th. He doesn't have that tire advantage anymore, so Weeks will need to show some speed and carve his way through. Battle coming up for the lead, though. Ethan Burrell has turned on the Jets.
Top 2 guys in the points, 1 and 2. Ethan Burrell, Ryan Lutz. Burrell, your regular season champion by 1 point, looking to take over a car that's dominated about half the race today. You know, Ryan Lutz with less than 25 laps to go. Can the 37 car put himself out front for the first time?
Oh, man, Burrell really driving it hard. Ryan Lutz is very good at this, though, and holding off someone behind him and forcing them to overuse their stuff. There's still 20 laps to go in this race, and if they start battling side by side, that will allow Nick Massey to get up close to him. Lutz throws that block. Burrell might not have liked that. We'll have to see if he wants to use the bumper. If Ryan Lutz is going to be tossing blocks down the straightaway.
Definitely think Burrell is the faster car here, but like David said, we have seen Lutz is a master of holding guys behind him.
There it is, Burrell to the inside. That 37 car's got the run, but will Lutz be able to hold serve on the outside? They're close. Great racing between Lutz and Burrell. I think Burrell's going to lead that lap. He will. And he'll get the lead entering 1.
Yep, there he is. Crossover, move to the inside. Here comes Lutz out of 2.
You can't do that.
Gets loose.
You can't do that. And Ryan Lutz just saved Ethan Burrell and his own race with that move by backing out of it. If Lutz had kept the floor down, or the pedal to the floor, he's spinning both cars out and ending both of their nights. As it is, he'll have a chance to come back. Incident behind. Rich and Crump got together. Crump falling back now.
While those two have been going at it, it has now turned a 2-car battle into a 4-car battle.
Yep.
Because Nick Massey and Chris Wright are now there as well.
Massey, the one I think to watch out for now. He's much better as the run goes along. Burrell trying to lead for the first time today. Lutz to chase for the first time today. Nick Massey, he's been running second all day long. He's been doing the chasing, and we know Nick Massey's a calm, cool, and collected guy back there. He's able to save those tires. He'll have to get by Ryan Lutz if he wants to chase down Ethan Burrell, though, and we know Lutz wants to get back by Burrell.
All just in timing of their runs. When they can do it, Lutz closes up a little bit there. That car looks mighty loose, though.
Yeah, that turned him sideways when he got into the gas coming off of 2. Turn 2 just so tight. You get up close to the wall. You have to turn it away from the wall. But you can just see the kind of run Ryan Lutz is able to get in the center of the corner. That's what he's so good at and so good at getting. And if he's able to make that run to get side by side with Ethan Burrell, it would have to be, I think, through turn 3 when he gets that run through the center of the corner. Still loose off of 2. It's not helping him at all.
4-car breakaway up front.
Yep, so it's these 4. Chris Wright waiting in the wings. Talked a little bit about him today. He's been running in the top 5 for the most part, but he had kind of been a distant 5th to some of those other guys. Now he's up here in this battle for the win. Try to keep my eye on this run. You also have these 2 running very close together, Johnny Thomas and Brandon Scott, battling it out for 7th place, back behind. Tate Lytle is well back in 10th. Up front, though, it's this foursome trying to pull away from the rest of the field and decide the race amongst themselves. Cameron Rich and Matthew Weeks are chasing and doing their best, but might be a little too late for the 47 and the 11.
Things calm for the time being. Next time around, we'll have 15 to go.
Yep. Ryan Lutz, I think, gathering up his car, trying to get it underneath him. Cameron Rich bounces it off the fence. That might open the door for Matthew Weeks to swing up by. Oh, Weeks did not get the run I thought he was going to, and Lutz still struggling off these corners. It's going to open the door for Nick Massey here soon, and Massey needs to make his move on Lutz if he wants to have any chance of running down Ethan Burrell.
I think Wright just struggling to hang on to this front three right now. He's starting to fade back just a little bit.
What a move. What a race there by Ethan Burrell. I mean, very clean all day. Drove from the middle of the pack up towards the lead, and had never really challenged for that race lead up until this restart. I mean, he had been, what, a third, fourth place car all day long, but I mean, he never had the caution where he could get up to the race lead. And as soon as he gets that chance, bang, drives it on by Ryan Lutz and is now pulled away to half a second lead. Ryan Lutz looks like he's doing everything he can. I just can't help but wonder if that scuff on the wall a little bit earlier in the race maybe slowed that 36 car up just a little bit. I think we had a small incident with Zishan Dura. He keeps it off the racing surface, and we stay green.
Still surprised that Massey cannot get around Lutz, though. Or hasn't even tried to get around him yet.
Nick Massey is very patient, and you can't help but wonder if he might be patient to a fault here, where he's going to try to wait for Lutz to make a mistake, and it's Ryan Lutz, so.
You got a good run there, though. It might be coming. Massey knows we're closing in on 10 to go.
He's got to go. I mean, Ethan Burrell's out there, but, 4/10 of a second ahead of these guys. Massey needs to put a move on Lutz because he's going to lose time once the 48 and the 36 get side by side. So the quicker he can do that, the quicker he can go after Ethan Burrell. I mean, I maybe wonder if he can't get after Ryan Lutz.
He's took a couple looks to the inside, and right there he looks really close.
Ooh, Lutz bouncing off the wall just a little bit. That won't hurt him. Just a little bit of time to Ethan Burrell down the front straightaway. Maybe a 0.5 of a second. No damage, I don't think, on that 36 car. He's driving it as hard as he can right now.
11 to go.
Just an impressive drive by Ethan Burrell, though, man. I gotta hand it to the 37 car. Don't think we're going to see that same Ross Chastain move by the Leininger number 12.
I was going to say, is Lutz calling for it? Not the case.
Leininger took the wave around, trying to get back to one lap down there, give himself a chance. Much, much older tires for that 12 car. Would not be able to throw any blocks without causing a big wreck.
That would actually be kind of ironic that it would be a Toyota and a Chevrolet once again.
Mm-hmm. That's starting to move back in on Ethan Burrell just a little bit.
Massey is all over the back of him, but just cannot find the room to make a move on him.
Doing his absolute best there is that 48 car. Massey just needs to get that run and get up underneath Lutz, kind of exiting turn 4, I think. I think that's maybe the best place for him to do it. The problem is it's so difficult to get a run on Ryan Lutz through a center of a slow corner like turn 3. And Massey's going for it. He's going for the move. He just can't get to the corner of Ryan Lutz. Lutz so fast through the center. The battle now is going to be, besides this battle for second, Cameron Rich quickly pulling up on the back bumper of Chris Wright. Wright has lost this front battle for the win, and now will need to hold on to pick up 4th place.
8 laps left to go. Burrell starting to pull away a little bit. Here comes Massey to the inside. Going to look under Lutz. Going to drive it on in. Can he make the move for second? Nick Massey has the ground.
Massey
might be able to clear Lutz and will.
Huge move by Nick Massey. He has 7 laps to go out and get Ethan Burrell if he can do it. Oh, and that's Jordan Owens. That's Jordan Owens. That is a team car to Ethan Burrell, and he drove his line right there. He might have watched the race on Sunday. Owens still in the way. That is a huge gap for Ethan Burrell.
Well, maybe we did have a Ross Chastain moment.
How about that? You know, people say, we don't. Nobody would actually do the Ross Chastain move. Oh, it's a dirty move. I've heard that. I saw that a bunch today, and man, I just can't. I can't understand that. You know, Jordan Owens and Ethan Burrell in the same call. Jordan ran his line in turn 1, and it's not like you can really get out of the way in turn 1 at Darlington.
Everyone says they wouldn't do it until they're put in that position.
Yeah, where you got a teammate in the call begging you, hey, can you just give me a little bit of space here if you can muster it. Massey, it'll take a Herculean effort to make up that ground. He's made up a 10th already. It opened from 3/10 to 6/10, doubled the size of the lead. He has 5 laps to go get another half second. And Passy, oh, he bounced it off the fence there. That's not going to help anything. He didn't lose any time. He just didn't gain it. Still half a second between Burrell and Massey, setting up for one of them classic Darlington finishes. Ryan Lutz waiting in the wings. If the front two get together and make a mistake, Massey took another 10th out of Ethan Burrell. The 48 car might be the fastest car here.
He's definitely coming, but does he have enough time? He's got to pick up more than a 1/10 a second. The 1/10 a second will get him there. He's got to get around him for the race win with 3.5 laps to go.
Yeah, he's doing it, though, too. He's picking up that 10th. He's already to 3/10 of a second back, and he gained a lot entering turn 4. Massey's going to...
on the throttle floorboard, pedal to the floorboard. Can he get it done?
Nick Massey, I mean, getting there is one thing, though. Passing him is another. And it's not like this is an elimination-style format, but Massey is eating up Ethan Burrell.
He is
there.
Oh,
sideways is the 48.
Gets loose, but he is there. He is putting pressure on Ethan Burrell now with 2.5 laps to go. And David, does he use the bumper?
Yeah, this is where I would say maybe not. You know, it's not a requirement. You don't have to use the bumper. You don't have to win the race. And if you use the bumper and you spin both of you out there, well then, now you've got an enemy and you don't have any points. So you need a good solid finish. Your Massey, you're going to do everything in your power to do it, but you're going to do everything in your power to come home first or second here.
He is gaining ground, taking a look down the backstretch there under the 37 car.
It's a fantastic
He got a big run earlier through here. Can he close up again on the back of Ethan Burrell? White flag in the air. He is there on the back bumper.
Burrell throws the block. Massey bounces off the fence. Burrell threw the block that Lutz used on him, and it worked to perfection. Now Lutz going to go around Massey.
There goes Massey's chances of the win, and Lutz going back around. So Massey back to the 3rd spot. That's going to hand the win over to the 37 car. Ethan Burrell heading into 3 and 4 is going to pick up the first win here. The Harpoon's design chase for the cup here in the Days Gone By 200 at Darlington.
A big block by Ethan Burrell. Great defensive driving. He'll pick up the win. Like I said, Nick Massey's got to find a way to get points even if you don't get the win, and he ends up 3rd. That's fine. Good run, top 4, top 5, top 6 drivers, playoff drivers tonight. We'll see if maybe Nick Massey might be a little upset with that block by Ethan Burrell.
How about that, David? It was pretty calm throughout most of the race, but that caution sure made for a good ending to this one.
Yep, it sure did. And kind of a surprise, honestly. I didn't know. I don't know that I was expecting such a classic Darlington run to the finish there. I mean, we talk about how iRacing is not, it's a simulator, but it doesn't always produce the same results on track. But I think Darlington might be the one place where you can just get the same type of finish with someone coming and chasing somebody down. You've seen it in 2003 with Ricky Craven and Kurt Busch, and you saw it with Kyle Busch and Chase Briscoe a couple years ago. I mean, just this place produces great finishes every time. I mean, these guys handled it great. Ethan Burrell with a fantastic run to the finish. I'm excited. I'm excited to hear from Burrell and Nick Massey. Emily, I would say you should definitely be asking Burrell about that move to throw that block, and Massey what he thinks of that block.
Emily, I think you should also harass Ethan a little bit that he cost David a Erska hat.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm definitely gonna throw that one in there. Okay.
Yep, because well, you could tell Lutz that he let me down. How about that?
Okay, we'll go with that one.
Yeah, Lutz certainly drove a great race, and as we watch Ethan Burrell burn it down, we'll get ready to go to the waiting room. I believe we'll have Ryan Lutz first. He's the one currently in there, and we'll take it to Emily. If we can get Lutz in here. We'll send it down to Emily now.
Ryan, do you have a copy?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I talked to you just a few minutes ago when you said it got a little crazy there for you. Just your reaction on how this race went for you tonight.
It was an awesome race. I wish it was 27 laps shorter, but I mean, sometimes you'll have that. But it was a good race by everyone. It was it's always class act racing with Ethan. We've had a lot of good battles before, and this is probably the first one he's beat me in. I think he did an awesome job, and I know he's been working hard and he's been fast. So it's definitely well deserved.
Yeah, I want to talk about those last few laps there. It seemed like he kind of did. David put it well when he was talking about defensive driving that Ethan had. What did you just kind of see on your end of how you weren't able to get in front of him there?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little frustrated with it. I thought we had the best car here, but I don't know. Just honestly, I'm speechless with it. I think I burned the right rear off. I don't really know. I got into the wall like lap, I don't know, 90 or something before that wreck happened, and I don't know, maybe it was just a totally different race car after that last restart. It was tight, loose. It was different all day. I don't really know. I know he had a lot better drive off. I know that for sure, and he was eating us up, and I knew it wasn't going to be long. And once I fell back to 48, I figured let the 48 by, let him battle 37. Maybe they both crash or something. They almost did. So it is what it is. It was a solid day for us.
Right. And I mean, do you feel a little lucky though that you mentioned a car basically jumped over you and you didn't get hit? You were able to avoid that.
Yeah, you're always lucky. I mean, it's a good day. You know, I think we led the most laps, and I don't know if you got stage points or not, but we're close, and we're going to a good track for me next week at Martinsville. It's my favorite track, so we'll be okay.
I don't want to frustrate you even more, but I do have to mention that you let David down a little bit because he chose you as a winner tonight because he wanted to get that Erska hat on Twitter, and he was so close, so he's a little bummed about that. I do have to mention.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely pretty bummed about it too. Trust me, if he won it, I was in a tweet that he needs to give it to me because I won it. But I mean, I was trying my heart out, man. I don't know what happened that last restart. It was just different. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, hey, second's not too bad, right?
No. If I knew, I hope Massey in the 37 got into it, and Massey got squirrely, and we picked off second there, but it's a solid.
Yeah. Well, before we let you go, are there any shout-outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, just you, Emily, Dom, David, do an awesome job with Erska. Johnny Thomas runs an awesome league. It's one of the best leagues I've ever been a part of. Backflip Podcast with Damien Leininger. He's a big supporter of mine in every league I run. Ryan Let's Designs, always sharp-looking cars, natural designs. My girlfriend's always watching. Just congrats to Ethan. It's always awesome running with him. I know we've had battle going all year. Massey always runs clean, and just everyone at Erska, it's really cool to come out here and run so clean and that long of green flag runs.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for the time, Ryan, and congratulations on coming in second tonight.
All right, thanks.
Yep, that was our runner-up finisher, Ryan Lutz. Now we'll grab Ethan Burrell, who has gone out of his way to not he hasn't won a whole lot of races this season, and he's been kind of vocal about that. But we'll send it down to Emily and see if he's glad to have won that first chase race.
Ethan, do you have a copy?
Yes, I do.
All right. Well, as David just mentioned, race number 1 in the chase tonight. What's your reaction on coming in first tonight?
Oh my goodness, I cannot believe it. I've been online racing for like a decade, and I don't think I've ever won at Darlington. I qualified. I had good speed in practice, but I qualified like mid-pack, and it was a game of survival there. This first half of that first long run, there was just a cluster of cars, and it's so hard to pass here. But Just grinding it out, kind of playing the one-stop strategy, and got up in the top 10. And man, that caution worked out, restarting third. And I mean, that is by far the hardest I think I've ever driven, to be able to battle with Lutz like that and barely hold off Massey. And a big shout out to Massey there. He was the fastest car there at the very end, but I had to throw a block on him coming to the white, and it looked like it just broke him loose. So I cannot believe it. I'm ecstatic right now.
Awesome. I'm so happy for you. And Dave and Dom were both talking about that block there. They mentioned the defensive driving. That is just as an important part of it. So just kind of take me through that when you saw what was happening. How were you able to put that block on so effectively?
Yeah, my right rear tire was probably melting by that point the last couple laps with how hard me and Lutz battled, and then trying to make up some ground on those guys. So I absolutely had my eyes glued to the mirror, and I could see Massey catching me each and every lap, little by little, and we were both sliding those cars sideways on the edge of control. And I slipped up a little bit in 3 and 4 coming to the white flag, and he got the good run there, and I just knew I had to defend the bottom. So I threw the block, and usually I don't like doing that, but I mean, we're chase racing, and it's the last lap. I mean, I had to defend, and yeah, I know it's risky. He could have got up under me and spun me around, but thankfully it worked out good. And oh man, it's just so cool.
Well, now it's the first race of this chase here that you've won. So do you kind of feel a little bit more confident moving on to these next few races here?
I do. I Darlington was probably the lowest track on my list coming into this playoff. I'm always pretty good here, but I can never figure out exactly what the real fast guys are doing, and something just clicked tonight. So I mean, I'm on the moon right now with excitement for coming in and winning at this track specifically. I mean, it's just absolutely unreal.
Awesome. Well, before we let you go tonight, are there any shout outs that you would like to give?
All the guys at Pro Edge Racing. We had David Tooker and Michael Daniel Martinez were kind of bird's eye view in the race for us in the team chat. And I mean, David Tooker talked me through all the strategy on the long run and keeping tabs on where everybody was at around me. And he told me to throw the block if Massey got to me, and I was just so awesome, so thankful having Tuker and all the guys in there. My grandma for watching back home, and you guys for just putting on such an awesome show for us, and all the drivers. I mean, to take that car that was so hard to drive, so sideways, and to have that long run like we did. I mean, that speaks huge for all the drivers in Erska. So just thanks to everybody for an awesome race tonight.
Great. Well, thanks so much for the time, Ethan, and congratulations on winning this one.
Thank you.
Hey, Nick, do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
All right. Well, just your reaction on how this first race of the chase went for you tonight.
I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, I'll take third place. It just thing that kind of sucks is the guys I'm racing for the championship finished in front of me still. But no, it was good. It was fun to get those long green flag runs and manage tires and try to make it to the stage on gas or halfway points on gas. It was a lot of fun sliding around out there.
Let's talk about those last few laps there. That block by Ethan. What'd you kind of see from your end?
Well, I didn't even think I was gonna get there because I got stuck. I think I cleared Lutz and I got stuck behind a lap car, and it cost me quite a bit of time. And I knew I was a little better than them in 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 I was matching them. So that was probably the hardest I drove all season trying to get there. And then I got such a run on them out of 4 that I couldn't turn it down to go underneath him. So I just kind of lifted, and he kind of threw a little bit of a block. And just the combination of me lifting, hitting his bumper a little bit, and trying to turn it back to the right a little bit just shot me right on the fence on those old tires.
Well, we talk about tire conservation every single week, it seems like. What was your kind of strategy on that here tonight?
Well, I didn't expect it to go green as long as it did there to start, but
Mhm.
I'm glad I kind of took it a little easier, saved some gas, and was able to, I think, win the halfway points there just by making it on gas. I came down pit road, and I forgot to take into account the extra, quarter, half a lap on pit road, and I was sputtering all the way down. So I thought I was gonna have to coast down pit road with no fuel and lose a ton of time, but luckily we sputtered into the box. But
Well, on our go ahead.
I was gonna say, but yeah, definitely just taking it a little easier and trying to run the bottom in 3 and 4 and keep it away from the fence, trying to save that right side.
Right. On our chase preview show, we had some of the guys mention that they were picking you as kind of the guy that everyone would have to beat, and you come in third here tonight. So, how are you feeling for the rest of the chase here? A little bit more confident going into it?
Yeah, I feel like definitely having the speed and being a little bit better than Ethan and Lutz there at the end too, because I think those two guys are pretty much have been the ones that beat all season. They've been up front 1-2 in the points constantly. So I think to win the championship, you're probably gonna have to outrun one of those two guys there. But yeah, looking forward to the rest of the playoffs here. I know it's gonna get next week. We have Martinsville and then I believe Dayz. So there's a lot of wild cards in there, and anything can happen.
Yep, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. Well, before we let you go here, are there any shout outs that you would like to give?
Yeah, just shout outs to my teammates there, Josh, Chris, Brandon, Colin, and just shout out to you guys for putting on the broadcast. You didn't come down to our channel again. I told you in the preview show that was my
I
beef.
No, there was I think one caution that I saw, so I didn't have that many opportunities. But next week, I'm sure there'll be a ton more. I promise. Next week. Yes.
Yeah, there was only like 2 yellows.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey Nick, thanks so much for the time, and congratulations on a good race here tonight.
These guys have a good night.
You too.
All right, that was Nick Massey, our second place finisher, and with that, another Erska race is wrapped up, including our playoff opener. Guys, any final thoughts before we sign off? We'll start with.
Yeah, I thought it. Oh, go ahead, Emily.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a little shocked that there weren't that many cautions here tonight. But I'm just excited to get this one going. Like you guys mentioned earlier, the top guys are pretty much the ones that everyone was picking so far to do well in this thing. So we'll see if that kind of continues. But I'm excited to get it going. I'm excited for next week and see how these guys, especially the ones that are in the chase, continue to perform here. So. It was a fun one tonight.
Yeah, I agree with that statement by Emily, and that really we didn't have any cautions. Thought there would be at least a couple more, but for the fact of the race and the product we saw on the racetrack, I thought it was really good. Got a little, like we said, a little dry in the middle there as things got spaced out, but I think it made it interesting with pit strategies, and then it definitely the last 30 laps were real exciting.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement with that, and we did have the points get posted already, and Ethan Burrell, no surprise, is your points leader. After that, it would be Nick Massey, and then Ryan Lutz, 1, 2, 3 there, and only 13 points separate them. Matthew Weeks picking up a big chunk of those halftime points. He does tie Lutz for third after finishing in sixth today, so just 17 points from first to sixth. And then there's some guys down there that just need to make a run. Jared Mogard, James Heater, Gerald Campbell. For one reason or another, those guys kind of fell out early. Gerald from the birth of his kid, and we'll excuse him for that one. Heater and Mogard had some issues. Bayou hit the wall a couple times. So those guys will be on the charge, and they'll be trying to win races the rest of the way because, with a traditional chase, you have to be consistent. And our top 5, top 6, they were all playoff drivers today, and that really cemented who I think is going to be playing for the championship this season. And I think you guys probably agree with me on that. And with that, I mean, what a great race. Classic Darlington. That's all I have to say about it. So for David Westergreen, Dom Santina, and Emily Harlan, tune in next Monday night. We will be back again at Martinsville. It's going to be a short track, bumping and grinding time. And we would like to thank all our sponsors one more time. They're up on the screen. And everybody have a good night. And yeah.